Hey, Rodney G here, Scarred Not Silent. So we left off. I kind of had a gap in between there. Sometimes when I feel it, like something like sparks conversation in my head, it's pretty cool to be able to just kind of release it. And those of you who are still following me, appreciate it. The new ones that are popping up, follow me as well. Love it. And sometimes I have those little thoughts in my head that I'm like, that'd be kind of cool to share. Kind of break that, that pattern up a little bit. Kind of see where my brain runs to sometimes. It's a mess at times, and sometimes it's a brilliant brain. But we're going to go ahead and go back to California. I thought this was going to be like the gold mine. I thought I was going to put on my Levi jeans and strike gold in California. Nope, didn't work that way. So at this point, wife's already there. She found a job, right? By the grace of God, she got a job. She sent the letter out. She got a response. And she sent this letter out when she was in Tucson. And I spoke about this previously. So she has a job. By this time, I believe it's almost time for us to get up out of this Airbnb. We exhausted our months. And by this time, I think I have the checks coming, or about to come through the Social Security. So we needed to get a place set up. Marie had been looking around previously for apartments, and there's one particular one that caught her eye. More importantly, after the application process and everything, it worked out. I used my previous check stubs that I had, even though I wasn't working, but I had previous check stubs that showed that there was income coming in, and I believe I might have had like one check still to come to me. And it just was a tense moment to say. We met the landlord at a coffee house and had a good discussion, really flowed, really well. Marie and I, we dressed up and we just was praying that this would work. I believe we turned in the application, deposit, and we were just waiting for, the application fee. And then we waited, I think it took about 2 days or so to get a response, and she let us know that we had the apartment. And really, I don't know how it happened. It always seems to happen that way. It's when we was about to kick rocks, really. Like we was about to be in a situation that could have left us homeless. And instead we got an apartment in North Park, which is it's in San Diego. It's just a neighborhood called North Park. Something about North Park, though. When you get into the neighborhood, everybody will tell you that North Park at one time used to be the place for like the players' ball, right? You used to have the pimps and the hookers. Almost went back to a rap album. I had to catch myself for a second. Almost started going off like the players' ball outcast. So they had the pimps and the hookers and, the drug dealers and all of that. And that was probably, I would say 20 years ago. I might be stretching it a little further. 20 years, that's what North Park used to look like. And imagine what happened. Gentrification took place. Pretty much cleared. They always say the hookers and the drug dealers and all that. But also in these neighborhoods are people is just trying to make it day by day. People work in underprivileged neighborhoods. It's not made up of just what we want to call is like the worst of the worst in the neighborhoods. Regardless, they still was moved out. And eventually you started seeing young white professionals moving in. And then the sticker prices of the property and the housing shoot up. I mean, when I was there was a house behind us, behind the apartment complex. And we used to have an alley too, which had all kind of, I won't say all kind, but you had your occasional homeless person that would walk back in their back, and sometimes you would see some stuff. But this is the city, and it happened everywhere. Even in La Jolla, there was homeless people. At this apartment that we was at, I would often walk through the alley. Like, it wasn't bad. Like I said, you have an occasional homeless person, and they didn't bother you. They didn't chase you or anything like that. They're just homeless. Matter of fact, if you ask them a question and speak to them as if they're a human being, because they are human beings, you would get into a conversation that would probably open your eyes more than not. So I would go in the back alley and walk and take the dog out and go to the restroom. I would walk around the block. Like I said, this was, by now, the neighborhood was what they considered fairly safe. I mean, it's still in the city, but it's fairly safe. And the homes that you would see there, well, I kind of digress a little bit, that you would see were multi-million dollar homes. There was a home, like I was saying, behind the apartment complex. And this house had like a chicken coop in it, like out in the back. There was a chicken coop, and you could hear the chickens going. Every once in a while, you see them running around back there. And the house was ran down a bit. I would say like it was probably maybe about a year or so that we was there. I mean, we was there longer, but it was a year that I noticed uh, a for sale sign on the house. So somebody bought this house. I don't remember what they was selling it for at the time. I think they was selling it for like 800,000, I believe. Somebody bought it, took the chickens out. I don't know where the chickens went to, but they didn't make it for the next sale. So the chickens were gone. The chickens were gone. The coop was gone. And then you steadily see the construction workers fixing the house. And by this time, I'm just curious what this house is going to look like, because all I remember is like the chicken coop, and this house was kind of ran down. After it was done, they put like a bridge in the front yard that had like a dry river. A dry river is basically just rocks that lie in the look like it would be like a riverbed, but it's just rocks. So they did this little bridge that went over the rocks, and I think they had a gazebo, and then the outside setting in the backyard, and then they had those lights like you see on the commercial where they had like the posts and then the nice, beautiful, shiny white lights in the backyard. And after all said and done, this house sold for more than $1 million, because I grabbed a little flyer like I was going to really do something. I always grab home flyers. That's my dream stuff. I dream through like those home magazines that you see walking, as you're walking maybe on the side of the street, and they have like luxury homes or real estate guides. That's my thing. I've been into that for so long. I actually like real estate. So that house sold for over $1 million. And the apartment complex was a little smaller. Like I said, for when you live in San Diego, you give up space and you give up your money. But it was nice. It was a nice place. It was a 1-bedroom, 1-bath in the heart of North Park. But it was kind of cool because it was still it was like North Park, but it was in the residential area. And then you walk about 5 minutes and then you're in the downtown section of North Park. I actually really loved it because it was convenient for me to get to my dialysis appointment still, and also to get to the grocery store. Now, the grocery store was not close per se, but also it wasn't too far. For me, because I didn't drive, I could take the bus, which that's what I was doing. I was taking the city bus for a while to get to the grocery store. And then I was like, what in the hell I'm taking the bus for? I got beautiful weather because we're still considered coastal in North Park. So that's still considered coastal. So it would take a while for the marine layer to burn off. So that hazy, gloomy look would probably burn off by afternoon time. And if it was winter time, it could stay a little gloomier. Summertime, that's when basically the clouds would leave and then the sun would come out. But that was usually about half a day of the cloud cover. I decided, why not walk? Why not just take this opportunity to go get my groceries by walking? Maria was, working and I was at the house, and I decided this was a perfect time to start walking. By then, I don't even think we had our pets yet because we was trying to find that place still. And was able to have some friends watch our cat and dog until we got settled as well. We ended up living in North Park and just really loving the neighborhood. I myself decided that this would be a perfect opportunity to try to get on the transplant list. I still wasn't even on the transplant list still. We're still talking about, I believe, but we're getting later in the year at this point, and I'm still not on this list. I continued to walk. There was a gym up the street that I had ended up getting a membership to. I was always kind of working out fit, and I didn't go hardcore because I was doing dialysis, but I was doing enough at the gym. At this point, I made it my goal to get on this transplant list. I no longer wanted to go through the day and day rigors of this dialysis. Even though it was better than some, it still just limited my freedoms. And I actually had an opportunity to become more motivated from the location we was at. So the goal was to get on the list. I would go get groceries. I would get groceries probably almost 4 times a week. What I would do is I would get enough groceries for a couple of days. That way it would force me to go pick up more groceries. So I would have to walk. Like I said, I don't know, maybe a mile, maybe 2 miles, probably more like 2 miles to get to the grocery store. And then that's with me. Initially, I started carrying them, double bagging them. And then I would carry them in my hand and around my like forearms. And I've kind of visioned like that. If you ever watched the strongman competitions where they have to carry, a lot of times they use their forearms to carry the weight just because you have a better balance. So I would load these bags up. I had to always have my backpack. So I would put some items in my backpack and then I would walk home. And sometimes this means I have to cut a different way depending on like if the streets are busy or not. It would take me, I would say, about 40, no, that's a little stretching it. It would take me about 30 minutes. No, it might take me about 45 minutes or so to get there and to get back. I continued to do this, although I kind of changed it up after a while. I started using a basket or a little cart. Basically, it was a cart with wheels. You would like a cooler, and it had wheels. And then I had my backpack. And then I would go do my shopping, and then I would come outside the store, and on the sidewalk, I would load up my cooler, and then I would fill my backpack, and then I'll make sure to carry reusable grocery bags because they was more sturdy. And then I got one of those carabiners that you would use for like for cliff hanging, where you take the carabiner and clip it on. So I had that on the bag, so as like a handle. So I was carrying this, and this would be cans and any frozen items I could stick in that bag to pull. This was my regimen to get where I needed to. Eventually, the Social Security kicked in, and like I said, it took 6 months for it to kick in. I would continue doing this exercise till I lost the amount of weight I needed. I continued to go to my appointments. A lot of times there was walking because Marie was working. So I would catch the bus and walk a little way to get to the appointments. It wasn't long, but I continued to be more active still. I will finish telling you the results of this walking and how long I was walking for, like a number of months. So when we come back on Friday, I'll let you know how much weight I lost and what was I eating. Was I eating anything specific? There was so much going into what I needed to do to lose the weight. Did I fail? You'll find out if I failed. Thank you for being here. Scarred Not Silent. If you wake up, you have a purpose.